turn this into this, stay with me until the end. Hey everyone, welcome back to DeepBlendArt. I'm thrilled to have you here for the second session of our Art of Scene Lighting playlist. If you're passionate about creating stunning visuals in Blender, you're in the right place. If you missed our previous videos on the basics of lighting or the robotic scene, I highly recommend checking those out first. Grab the scene file from the link below to follow along. Let's get started. Alright, let's light the girl monk scene together. In our first playlist, we covered the fundamentals of lighting. Now, we're putting those skills to work by lighting different scenes. In the previous video, we fully lit a robotic scene over 2 sessions. Today, we're tackling this animated scene, and I'm excited to see what we create. If you haven't watched the earlier videos, pause here, check them out, and come back. We'll wait for you. Let's dive into the scene. First, I'm turning off the default lighting collection to start fresh. I've set up a basic environment using an HDRI in the World Properties panel. You can choose any HDRI you'd like, but I'm sticking with this one for now. To keep the environment light subtle, I set its strength to 0.25. Feel free to tweak this based on your scene's needs. It's all about finding the right balance for the overall lighting mood. Since we're imagining the scene at sunset, our primary light source is a sunlight. I'll add a sunlight and rotate it along the y-axis to match the sunset angle I have in mind. The exact position of the sun isn't critical, but its direction matters. To capture that warm sunset vibe, I'm tinting the light a soft orange and setting its strength to around 2. You can adjust this to taste, but this gives us our solid starting point for our primary light. Next up, we have 2 fire elements in scene. For these, I've set up an emission shader in the shader editor to mimic a glowing effect. You can adjust the emission strength and color to your liking. For simplicity, add an emission shader to the surface of the fire objects. However, using emission alone for environmental lighting can be tricky. It often overpowers nearby objects like the trees or characters. Instead, I'm placing a point light right where the fire is, slightly above it, and tinting it a reddish hue to match the fire's glow. I set its strength to around 1000 for a noticeable but controlled effect. This way we can fine-tune the fall-off, radius, and color to get the exact lighting we want. To ensure consistent lighting, I'm duplicating this point light and placing it above the second fire element, like a lantern. I position it carefully to enhance the fire's glow without overwhelming the scene. You can place it slightly outside or adjust its strength to fit your vision. For example, I'm keeping it just behind the lantern to create a soft, warm glow. This gives us our initial lighting layers, setting the foundation for the scene's atmosphere. To add variety, I'm tweaking the colors of these point lights. The upper light leans slightly toward yellow or green for a subtle contrast, while the lower one stays closer to a fiery red to emphasize the fire's intensity. This helps create a richer, more dynamic lighting mood. So, we've got our sunlight for the sunset, fire elements lit with emission shaders and point lights, but the scene still feels raw compared to our final vision. We need more techniques to polish it up. Our scene has 2 types of objects: large environmental elements like trees, stairs, and stones, and detailed characters like the bird, bear, and monk. To exaggerate this guy's effect on the stones, I'm adding an area light. I place it high above, aligned with the sun's direction, and angle it downward. I set its power to a moderate level, around 50, and tint it slightly blue to mimic the sky's atmosphere. To ensure this light only affects the environmental objects, I use the Object Properties panel under Shading and Lighting to link it to the scene collection. Adjust the scale and power to focus light precisely on stones. To balance the lighting, I duplicate this area light and place it on the opposite side of the scene, mirroring the setup. This ensures the stones are evenly lit from both directions. You can tweak the color and intensity to match your artistic vision. Maybe make one side slightly warmer or cooler. For the characters, I copied the area light again and adjust its position to light the monk, bear, and bird individually. In the light linking panel, I link each light to its respective object. For example, the light behind the monk is set to a lower strength, around 20, to create a subtle rim light effect. To finalize the scene, let's head to the compositor. I enable compositing and start with a glare node set to fog glow mode to enhance the atmospheric effect. I set the strike to around 5 and tweak the threshold to make the highlights pop. You can add a slight color tint lit green for extra flair. Next, I add another glare node in streaks mode with a high threshold to keep it subtle. Finally, I use a lens distortion node with a slight negative distortion and some dispersion to add a cinematic RGB split at the edges. This polishes this scene beautifully. And there you have it. We lit the girl monk scene from scratch, layering lights and adding atmosphere to create a stunning visual. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned some new tricks. Don't forget to share your renders with me. I'm dying to see your take on this scene. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to DeepBlendArt, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next lighting adventure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.